they're the ones who projects. There are 5 of them. We had 4 at our event. So very well worthwhile for us to do these types of things and just keep more coming. Speaking of that, we had their team with a consultant up. We showed 5 sites for what's called the Property Evaluation Program, the PET program, where they give you a good read with consultant, comes in from Austin Consulting, and kind of looks at the sites you're looking at to develop and gives you their 2 cents and how to develop, what industries they think would be best served there if you develop it, and just kind of give you an analysis of it. Just as importantly as that feedback, it makes you eligible on those sites for some of these grants, because not every site is eligible. It's got to be a certified site, which all Partnership Part 2 is, and we have, I think, 4 certified sites in Sullivan County, or it has to go through the PDP program. And now that we've got those 5 sites through, we can start applying for grants for those sites. The state announced yesterday they're broadening those grants to where it can be up to $5 million for spec buildings. So we're talking to them about that too. Believe me, we're talking to them about that. So just exciting things. We've talked to them a lot about some projects at Airspace Park. The director of the airport, Gene Cosley, is out of town, but we've got some quality leads and working with TVA, a list of companies, and we're strategizing on, they're not leads particularly now, they've just been identified through various metrics as we anticipate growth within those companies, and we want to try to get in front of them early now. And I mean, there are dozens of them. So I'm working with TVA and TNECD, and we'll bring the airport in on what the best method to get to each of those are. We're also working with a consultant that has some unique services, and it's a very well-known firm he works for that gives it credibility to try to generate, to expedite the growth of Airspace Park. We went to the MRO America show, which is one of the biggest aerospace shows every year. It's in Atlanta this year, and Michael Parker, my staff, joined Mark Canty, and State ECD and TVA at that site. It's the only, or at that show, it's the only show we exhibit at. We go 50-50 with a booth with the state. So we've been busy, very busy, very positive things. Good projects are in the pipeline. We're trying to get them across the finish line. In my 9 years here, in 2017, we set the mark of about 1,500 jobs, and I forget what the investment number is. And I don't think we're going to hit that number of jobs. Quality projects, the type of investment we're seeing, just really good paying jobs. In my 9 years here, I've never been as excited as what's going on right now at Networks and in the county. So could not happen without each and every one of you, the support you constantly show us. So thank you for that. And if there are any questions, I'd be happy to take them. But congratulations to each of you too. We get all the congratulations. All these wins are y'all's wins, because without y'all, I mean, I wouldn't be standing up here. There'd be no, I don't know what I'd be doing. I shudder to think what I don't have a heck of a lot of marketable skills, as I say. Anyway, but if there are any questions, I'd be happy to take them.
Yeah, we have one commissioner question. Commissioner Means.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Walker, for coming in. You had mentioned $4 million. Did you say $2 million is coming from the state? And then could you explain that a little bit?
We approved 3 years ago, Richard, I believe, Mayor. Okay. The partners, which y'all have 51% of it, Kingsport 31%, Bristol 17%, plus City around 1%. We issued bonds through the county for $4 million to do site improvement work in Partnership Park 2. And that got us the rail site, and now we have some change. And we don't have enough to do the entire match for this $1 million grant, but the city of Bristol budgeted to pick that up. They said, we understand going to the partnership It's gonna be a big lift, because we've gotten so much in Bristol lately, so they're just gonna take care of that for us.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Clay. Thank you, Jessica. Any other questions for Clay? Clay, we appreciate your being up here, and we congratulate you on the Siemens group. It's, I said at the opening, I met Raj, I was knocking on his door running for mayor in 2002. And he invited me in for a cold glass of water on a hot August or July day. But they're a great corporate citizen, and we look forward to that growth they're going to have. So
Yeah.
thank you, and everything else you do for us.
Well, thank you, every one of you, I appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Back in session. Next item on the agenda is elections, confirmations, and appointments. And as you know, we have nominations from various groups, but they must be ratified by the, most must be ratified by the county commission. And tonight, we have two positions to fill on the Sullivan County Industrial Development Board. And just a little preface to this vote and who they are. The Industrial Development Board is established by state statute in each county, and each county must have an Industrial Development Board. Now, when Networks was formed in 2004, a lot of the duties of the Industrial Development Board were taken on, but the Industrial Development Board has the authority, all the authority to issue bonds. It can give tax abatements. They have statutory authority of their own, so these are important appointments. It's a very small board. I can't recall the total membership now, but George Gibson, former president of First Tennessee Bank, Dennis Phillips is the chairman now. The nominations before you tonight are to replace Luther Eisenhower. Luther Eisenhower was probably served on that board for 40 years. He was attorney in Bristol, and Luther passed away recently. And the board has nominated Paul Fry, who is an attorney in Bluff City, to replace Luther, because the board always needs legal advice, and the best way to get that is to have an attorney on staff. So if the commission agrees, I will need a nomination to appoint Mr. Fry to the Industrial Development Board, Sullivan County. Have none. Mr. Jones moves, and Mr. Gardner seconds. Any discussion? Any other nominations from the floor? Seeing none, when the board opens, cast your vote on the appointment of Paul Fry as member of the Sullivan County Industrial Development Board. Has everyone voted? Anyone wish to change your vote? Madam Clerk, take the vote.
19 yes, 5 absent.
Having received the necessary majority, Mr. Fry is appointed. As I mentioned, there are two vacancies. Mr. Chad King has served on that board for a number of years and has resigned. Business reasons. Chad's a very busy fellow, and he served with distinction and has helped the county considerably. The board is recommending the appointment of Tom King. You have a bio of Mr. King in your packet, former President and CEO of Kintronics Labs. Mr. King has not been on the board before, but do we have a, Mr. Aker nominates Mr. King, seconded by Mr. Gardner. Any discussion? Any further nominations for that seat? Seeing none, when the board opens, please cast your vote on the motion to appoint Mr. King. Has everyone voted? Anyone wish to change your vote? Madam Clerk, take the vote.
19 yes, 5 absent.
Have received the necessary majority. Mr. King is appointed to the Industrial Development Board. If Clay is still here, I believe he might have gone, but we will have the network staff notify them of their appointment. They work very closely with networks. I'm sorry, Sam, for some reason my screen went off, didn't see your.
There it is.
Your,
Would it be possible for the commission to have a list of the industrial board laid on our desk at the next meeting?
would it be possible?
Right. Could we have that list distributed? Who's on that board?
Well, the mayor is an ex officio member, but if this, body would like to have a representative on that board,
No, that's all. I'm just asking for a list of the board.
Okay. we could do that. Well, we
Yeah.
had talked before about possibly having a commissioner on there.
Oh,
We will get you a list, and it's probably on our website, Sam, but I'm not sure.
right. It's kind of hard to find.
Thank you, I didn't totally understand the question, and I must say right now, I'm having a little equipment malfunction, and those of you who have hearing aids understand when you have an equipment malfunction, so if I say, what, repeat that, whatever, please forgive me, and if it gets too bad, our chairman pro tem is sitting back there with his green jacket on, and I won't hesitate to call on him. Next up is the appointments, reappointments to the Sullivan County Board of Zoning Appeals, and you have bios in your packet as a recommendation of Ms. Torbett and her staff that Mr. Jay Baldoff and Mr. Marvin Egan be reappointed to their positions on the Board of Zoning Appeals. And they have served with distinction for, I don't know, Jay, what, 3 years, 4 years? 2 years, 2-year appointment. So it comes to you in a positive manner. Do we have a motion to appoint Ms. Crosswhite, Mr. Gardner, Ms. Calton second? Are there, I don't know that I need to ask if there are no other nominations, but I will just to cover myself. There are no further nominations. This will be Angie on one vote. Any objection to having one vote on both members? We can split it if you'd like. Seeing no objection, when the board opens, you cast your vote for the motion to approve reappointing Mr. Baldorf and Mr. Egan. Everyone voted. Anyone wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, take the vote.
20 yes, 4 absent.
I received necessary majority. Mr. Baldorf and Mr. Egan are reappointed. Thank you for being here tonight, and we appreciate the service. Very important board to our county, and sometimes we labor anonymously, and this is the night that we express the confidence in you to make great decisions on the part of the county and on part of the citizens of our county particularly. So thank you. And I encourage any members. We have so many boards and commissions. If you're not familiar with these boards, it's really informative to come to one of their meetings and see what they go through, because they go through the same thing that you do in dealing with the public and private properties, and it's very important. Okay, next up, appointment to the Sullivan County Libraries Board of Trustees. The board has recommended the appointing of 2 members, James Eaton and Lisa Eisen. We have Megan, our director, with us tonight. She'll be happy to answer any questions, but comes to you with a high recommendation from the current board. Do we have a motion? Mr. Andrew Cross is your representative on the library board, and they tell me they're pretty satisfied with you, Andrew. So we're going to let you keep that high-paying job. But seriously, thank you for the motion. Second, Cole Gardner, still somebody else on the right side. Any discussion? Seeing none, we're ready to vote. When the board opens, we will, without objection, vote on both members. Has everyone voted? Anyone wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, take the vote.
19 yes, 1 no, 4 absent.
Have received the necessary majority. Mr. Eaton and Mrs. Eisen are appointed to the Sullivan County Library Board members. Okay, next up, on our agenda, I skipped over constables because we're gonna, I just made a mistake, to be perfectly honest with you. I started to alibi it, but I just made a mistake. And it's a very important appointment, and we have appointment of constable in District 9, and we have one applicant.
We have two. I make a motion to nominate Jeff Whitaker for district non-constable.
Say again, if you would. Let me turn your mic on, Joe. Okay, I've got a better chance of hearing you.
I make a motion to nominate Jeff Whitaker for district non-constable.
Want to make sure the clerk got that. We don't have anything in the packet, but we can add him to the list, and we're going through papers up here, Darlene. I'm sorry I missed you.
That's okay. I want to nominate Tim Lane.
It only takes one person to nominate, doesn't need a second, so Mr. Lane has been nominated, and this position has been advertised properly by the clerk. So we'll catch our paperwork up here in just a second. Got our paper confused up here, so we're back on Mr. Whitaker as properly nominated. So we've got our paperwork straight up here, and I know you have bios and certain information on Mr. Whitaker and Mr. Lane. So I know you've had time to review that. The agenda was published 48 hours prior to our meeting, as is required by state law now. Any other nominations for a constable for the 9th district? Seeing none, the nominations are closed, and we're going to have a roll call vote on the motions for appointment as constable. So, Madam Clerk, it takes 13 votes to be elected to the seat. Ms. Street, if I misstepped anywhere, I'd like for you to stop.
Well, that was what I was concerned about, whether it does take 13. Could you give me a minute to go read on that? Because there's 4 absent. I was going to read and make sure it requires 13 when it's an election. I think it does, but I'm not positive. Could I go read up on that real quick?
Yeah, I'd really get it right, so,
Let me go look at that.
okay, that's great. And as Dan goes, if we can just break in place, the confusion up here is we thought we had 3 and 11 and 1 and 9, and because the paperwork got split, so we're good. We're recessing before the vote, and we will have a voice vote. It requires 13 votes for election. Commissioner Cross, you.
What were the 2 names, so I could write those down?
The 2 names are Tim Lane and Jeff Whitaker. And you should have biographies and certificates in your packet for those gentlemen.
Tim?
Oh, and that's the packet.
Mr. Chair, since they're both here, could, while Dan's doing that, could we have them both speak, please?
I'm gonna get. I'm happy to get interpretation up here, folks, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna turn it over to John here in just a second. Because when these things go out, it just came back on. So, and that's what happens to you when you have, my wife calls it ear screws. So, Joe, to answer your question, we are recessing right now. And if, to give each one an equal chance, we will give them about a minute and a half to introduce themselves. So, in no particular order, Mr. Whitaker, Mr. Lane. Would you like to come up to the podium? We'll give you an opportunity so the commission will know what you look like. And, just introduce yourself. About a minute if you don't care.
Good evening. My name's Tim Lane. I've lived in Sullivan County all my life. I started in law enforcement in 1990 with Sullivan County Sheriff's Office as a reserve deputy until 1998. In 1996, I was elected constable in the 11th district, and I served from 96 to 2016. All without incident, and every single year I had 40 hours in service, and I was range qualified. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Give us your name and address for our electronic record.
My name's Jeff Whitaker. My name's Jeff Whitaker. I've lived in District 9 of Glen Garden for the last 15 years. I used to be a reserve police officer, licensed armed guard in the state of Tennessee. I was head of security for Teleoptics Incorporated for 20 plus years. I would love the opportunity to serve and help protect my community, and I would love y'all's support. Thank y'all and have a great evening.
Thank you, Mr. Whitaker. Dan's not returned yet, and so we'll give him all the time. We'll give him the time he needs. Dan is on the way.
13.
Chairman Pro Tem Gardner, I will put you on notice if this goes out again. I'll just do one of those. Because it's important what these folks have to say, and I'm having trouble. Right now, I'm not, but you never know. Dan?
Mr. Chairman, it does take 13 votes, but we have to do one other thing too. We have to offer the public the opportunity to suggest a nominee. They cannot nominate, only the commission can do that, but we do have to open it up to the public.
We do this so seldom, and I apologize to the commission. Dan and I generally get together, and we just hadn't had time to do this, so we have two nominees on the floor. Is there anyone in the public now? And I will tell you that in your electronic package, you have a bio of an additional candidate who I gave the opportunity for any commissioner to nominate that candidate. None was forthcoming. So when you look at that thing, you'll find the third one in there for the 9th district. Is there anyone in the public that would like to make a nomination for a constable in the 9th district? And I assume we're in recess. Mr. Upchurch.
I'm Gary Churchwell. I'm the sitting constable in the 9th district, and I support Tim Lane for constable. He's been in law enforcement and as a constable for about 20
Gary,
years.
we're not taking campaign speeches. I thought you wanted to make a nomination.
But that's it.
And
Kent Hurst supports him too.
appreciate it. Any public opportunities closed? We're ready to vote on it, Dan.
Yes.
When the clerk calls your name, please answer with the name of the nominee that you support, Mr. Whitaker and Mr. Lane.
Akert.
Lane.
Calton. Carr.
Whitaker.
Cole. Crawford. Absent. Cross. Crosswhite. Gardner. Glover. Harvey. Hayes. Horn, absent. Ireson, absent. Jones. King. Leonard. Locke. McMurray, absent. Means. Pierce. Slagle. Stidham. Vanover. Ward. Would anyone like to change their vote? 19 Lane, 1 Whitaker, 4 absent.
Do that one more time, please.
19 Lane, 1 Whitaker, 4 absent.
Just to have one majority, Mr. Lane. Nominate. We have a vacancy in the 11th district. It's been properly advertised, public notified. So we will go into session to appoint a constable in the 11th district. We have had one applicant that you have the information on. So the floor is open for nomination. This position has not been advertised, so it will not be acted on tonight. election, but, so we have one nominee, and you have that information in your packet, I believe, that was sent out to you, so that position will remain open till the next regular scheduled meeting of the Sullivan County Commission. We want to be sure we do these things right. So, that section of our agenda is completed. Next up, approval of commission minutes for previous meeting. Minutes are provided to commission members electronically and are available to the public at our website. Motion by Gardner for approval, second by Jones. Any discussion, corrections, additions? We have that on the board. Minutes. Board is open. Cast your vote on approving minutes. Everyone voted? Anyone wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, take the vote.
Mayor, did you announce that this approval will be for all 3 sets of minutes?
Sure. Oh, I have to vote on the minutes. The approval, vote on the minutes. It's up right now. I did not. Well, we need, sponsor change your motion to approve 3 sets of minutes, special call meeting, the last meeting,
And the June meeting? June meeting.
and the June meeting.
Are you simply requiring a motion for all 3 sets? If that's the case, I move all 3 sets of minutes be approved as printed.
Second, Jones and Cross. That note is not on my agenda, and I apologize.
That's fine.
Any further questions? When the board opens, cast your vote on the amended motion. Everyone voted. Anyone wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, take the vote.
20 yes, 4 absent.
I received necessary majority. Minutes are approved. Next up is the consideration of the appointment of notary publics for Sullivan County. And Madam Clerk has the list of applications, and she will read those. She's ready. Madam Clerk, read the list.
Sarah Abelseth, Jamie Donna Abernathy, David Lois Booth, Ann Elizabeth Coleman, Victoria K. Cox, C. Thomas Davenport Jr., Christopher Detroit, Madeline Duncan, Carol Ann Ford, Kaylee Amber Frank, Sarah Yvonne Fuchs, Michaela Carter, Lisa Janae Harris, Claire Hodge, Elena Holden, James W. Holmes, Dawson Jacobs, Christy Jennings, Jessica Nicole Kearney, Zane Kilby, Rebecca E. King, Tiffany Long, Emily Luce, Jeremy B. Mays, Whitney Renee Pippin, Tessa D. Prophet, Juanita Ramey, Jane E. Richards, Jacob Roller, Tasha Nicole Salyards, Lori M. Saltz, Vicki Robin Scott, Cynthia Sealing, Tiffany Porter Smeltzer, Keely A. Smith, Hillary Minta Souza, Rose Marie Spangler, Cynthia Stallard, Brenda Sweeney, Tiffany N. Tilley, Tammy D. Wright.
You've heard the list. Any objections? Move adoption by Commissioner Cole, second by Commissioner Cross. Any discussion? Seeing none, with the board open, cast your vote on appointment of No Republicans for Sullivan County. Everyone voted. Anyone wish to change your vote? Madam Clerk, take the vote.
20 yes, 4 absent.
Have received the necessary majority. Motion is adopted. Next up on our agenda, we will recess for public hearing, public comment. And Mr. Cross is on the way with that list. Thank you, Andrew. Can you object to names on the list? Matthew Johnson. Sir, would you give us your name and address for for our electronic record?
Absolutely. Matthew Johnson. The address is 3425 Highway 126, Smockville, Tennessee. I'm here, and I think it's appropriate, based upon your agenda thus far, that I'm here to speak about a couple of boards that I serve on. I will be brief, but you may have noticed we've had a lot of progress on the back lot with the Veterans Park. Our Military Park Board has done a great job over the last 16 months, but really this commission and the support from you folks in the Mayor's office has been tremendous, and we would not be where we're at without that support. I would encourage you to take a look at the site. It really is progressing nicely. We have our concrete down. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be a wonderful place for reflection and honoring our veterans. Secondly, I would just say that I know there's been a lot of interest with tourism, and just want to let you know that I will be meeting with informally with some of our colleagues with Northeast Tennessee Tourism Association, Explore Bristol, and Visit Kingsport, just to talk about collaboration opportunities and things of that nature. Also, we do have a permanent seat on the Northeast Tennessee Tourism Association board, and I do hold that seat. But I thank you for your time. I don't want to keep anybody over, but thanks for not objecting, Mayor.
Thank you, Matthew, and thank you for the good job here.
That meeting, I'm sorry, Zane, I may have overlooked that. That meeting will be August 28th at 9 a.m. in my office.
Thank you, John.
Sorry, July 28th.
Appreciate it. Anybody in the audience that would like to address the commission at this time while we're in recess for public hearing? Seeing none, public hearing is closed. We're going to, if you will, take a break in place. I'd like to get Mr. Gardner. I looked over at your seat. I was going to call on you. I need to confer with you for a moment. And while he's on his way up here, I apologize. I went to my audiologist on Monday and said this is going in and out. And I'm having even difficulty understanding my colleagues up here. So that is an affliction. So I'm going to ask John to do the resolution agendas. And it's, I got you set up here, right here with what you need. So if you all let me confer with him just a moment. And before I do sign off myself, and I'll be in the back of the room because I can hear great back there. Our work session last Thursday night, I believe, was attended initially by 16 people, and then 17 total for the meeting. We have our planning and zoning session, as you know, a work session now, at your request and at the agreement of Ms. Torba. As you know from the 9 or 10 months that you've served, some of our heaviest decisions and occur during our planning and zoning sessions. And with 16 members, for example, to be able to get 13 on a heavily contested zoning could be difficult. We will try again for August to have those meetings during work session because it makes this meeting, let you focus more on the job of government, which is you're doing on the resolutions. Those are things that you originate or that the administration originates as part of running government. planning and zoning is a different animal in that we're dealing with private property rights. Extremely important, probably nothing more important that we deal with. But if we continue to have that lack of attendance, then I would recommend to you that we move back to regular meeting, because we generally have better attendance at regular meetings. So just keep that in mind. We'll try it again next month. And look, I know everybody's got a life. You can't always make these meetings, and I understand that. But if we have a trend, which we do have a trend in the work session, we have to recognize that and do our best job we can in the interest of the county. And that's not criticizing anybody for not being here last Thursday night at all. It's just that we know that commissioners have lives. We meet in the evening so the commissioners who have jobs can be here. Some people work different 24-hour on call or whatever. But again, let's try it again. With your permission, we'll try it again in August and see if we have more members able to attend the work sessions. So if you will, just break in place for just a minute till I get John caught up on where we are. And again, I apologize. I've had a hearing problem since I took this bench in 2002. And I have always been able to overcome it with various solutions, but this one just went out and I don't have control over the electronics in my head. So be right back with you.
Next order is the approval of the consent calendar. We have a consent calendar. Anyone seeking recognition on the consent calendar? Commissioner Cross on the consent calendar.
During the work session, I talked about the 2 grants coming in. I wasn't aware which one was going to be matching. Number 9 is not a matching grant. I'd like to move that to consent, if that would be possible.
Any objection? Sponsor moves item number 9 to be placed on the consent calendar. Is it any objection to item number 9 being placed on consent calendar? Without objection, item number 9 is placed on consent calendar. Commissioner Vanover on the consent calendar.
I'd like to ask for item number 2 to be bumped off the consent calendar and heard on the regular calendar after we hear an amendment.
Commissioner Vanover moves that item number 2 be removed from the consent calendar. Anyone else seeking recognition on the consent calendar? Without objection, Madam Clerk, item number 2 on the board, please. Excuse me, the consent calendar. Has every member voted on the consent calendar? We're, what's that? The one we did that last week. That's zoning. Okay. We're on the consent calendar. Anyone wish to change their vote on the consent calendar? Madam Clerk?
20 yes, 4 absent.
Without objection, the consent calendar is passed. That moves us into our regular order of business. Recognize Commissioner Vanover on item number 2. Oh, that was on consent? I thought that was the one you bumped.
It's been a weird night, I'll tell you what.
We can put it back on if you want.
I'm sorry. My fault.
No one would object.
Item number 2 is a resolution to adopt an indemnification policy for Sullivan County Commissioners and the assistant to the commission. Therefore, be it resolved, Sullivan County government will cover any legal cost incurred by any member or members of the Sullivan County Commission arising from civil lawsuits filed against any such member for conduct within normal course and scope of their duties, and the same shall apply to the assistant to the commission. Further be it resolved, the cost absorbed by the county shall be set at $25,000 per case initially. Funds to come from the county's self-insurance account. Further be it resolved, if actual cost of the case exceeds $25,000 by 20% or more, the additional cost must be approved by the full county commission. Further be it resolved, in the event of the county commission members prevailing and are awarded reimbursement of legal fees, those fees shall be paid back to Sullivan County up to the amount of funding provided by the county. And I think we've got an amendment.
You've heard the explanation. Anyone seeking recognition on item number 2? Commissioner, there we go. Commissioner Slagle, you're recognized, sir.
I'd like to make a motion to amend to include all elected officials of Sullivan County.
I'll accept that amendment.
Commissioner Slagle moves amendment. Commissioner Vanover accepts the amendment. Any discussion on the amendment? Without objection, the amendment is adopted. Commissioner Ward, sir.
Wouldn't Attorney Street represent us if we were in any type of legal action?
Attorney Street, would you like to address that, sir?
I would. Like I said at the work session, I guess I could talk about this resolution for a long time about all the different scenarios that could occur, but yes, I would. The county provides insurance. If I couldn't, the county would hire a lawyer. But I will say this, myself included, I think elected officials sometimes do think about this, worry about this. So, if it makes elected officials feel more comfortable, I mean, I don't see anything wrong with it. But to answer your question, yes, I would represent them, and we do have insurance.
Commissioner Cross.
Just a quick question, I guess this is for Attorney Street. If we have insurance, in other words, if we pass this, does the insurance cover us beyond this amount? Would this cancel that out? Is there any adverse effect to that insurance if we pass this resolution?
Well, I don't think this would change the terms of our insurance coverage. I mean, I don't, they would have to sort of claim that they were entitled to ride piggyback on this, and I wouldn't expect them to do that. I mean, I can't really tell you how that would play out. I will say this, on our insurance, we do have, I think it's either $100,000 or $125,000 deductible now. It's called a self-insurance. Where I'm from, we call it deductibles, but, so, you know, in most cases, I would think the county would foot the bill anyway. But, I mean, I don't know. I guess they could try to say, well, you gotta pay the first 25 and then you gotta pay an additional self-insurance retention. I mean, I'm not gonna say they wouldn't try that.
Commissioner Vanover.
Just to try to clarify this a little bit, last week we talked about this amendment and why I was bringing it up. It's more of a safety net than anything. For instance, if 11, 12, 13 commissioners all got sued at one time for not rezoning something or not doing something that someone felt was discriminatory, I don't think County Attorney Street could defend 11, 12, 13, 24 people at one time. So this is meant to just be a safety net in extreme circumstances for cases such as that. I know we got a county attorney, I know we've got insurance, but this is just meant to be a safety net for extreme circumstances.
You've heard the explanation. Anyone else seeking recognition on item number 4 is amended? Excuse me. I've already flipped over to 4, so I'm looking at it. It's in the water up here, y'all. Commissioner Vanover moves waiver of rules on item number 2. Any discussion on item number 2 is amended? Everyone voting in the affirmative be added as a co-sponsor. Without objection, ready to vote on item number 2. Has every member voted? Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk?
20 yes, 4 absent.
After receiving the necessary majority, item number 2 is adopted. Without objection, recognize Commissioner Cross on item number 4.
This is another grant. This one is matching. However, she is matching this with her own budget. But since it had money coming to it, I didn't want to put it on consent. That's all.
You've heard the explanation. Anyone seek recognition on item number 4? Sponsor moves waiver of rules. Any objection? Without objection, we're ready to vote on item number 4 on waiver of rules. Has every member voted? Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk?
19 yes, 5 absent.
After receiving the necessary majority, item number 4 is adopted. With that, well, I've got 7 with the, I think, I recognize Commissioner Crosslight on item number 7. Yeah. Commissioner Crosslight, you seek recognition on item number 7? I'm assuming seat number 7 is Commissioner Cowton, because I actually don't have names up here yet, I just have seat numbers, so I'm assuming that. Oh, no, that's Commissioner Cross, I was wrong. Commissioner Cross, you're recognized.
Just point of clarification is all, I think that it's 500, but you also have to pay all the back taxes on it. They waived it. Okay, I was unaware of that. Thank you.
I'll have to look. Commissioner Cowton, you're recognized.
Okay, this has been through multiple auctions, and it hasn't been sold. It gets it back on the tax roll, where it's just been sitting there for years. And our committee recommended that we sell this at the bid of 500.
Anyone else seek recognition on item number 7? Without objection, ready to vote on item number 7. I have the new one, if anybody needs to see it. Well, here, you can have this one, and you can replace the mayor's. Here you go. Has every member voted? Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk?
11 yes, 9 no, 4 absent.
Having failed to receive the necessary majority, item number 7 fails. Without objection, recognize Commissioner Glover on item number 8.
Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem. This resolution is to appropriate $40,000 from the Sullivan County General Fund 101 budget document 2023-2024 fiscal year into the Office of County Coroner, account number 54610-100. I will read that if you all want me to, but if not, I'm going to skip down to there. Therefore, it be resolved that the Board of County Commissioners of Sullivan County, Tennessee, assembled in regular session on the 20th day of July 2023, appropriates $40,000 from the General Fund 101 to be available to the Office of Coroner, account number 54610-100, immediately upon being duly passed and properly signed. Be it further resolved that this $40,000 appropriation shall be allocated to Office of Coroner Pay, daily operations, and sets the base pay for the administrative position. Be it further resolved, this $40,000 appropriation satisfies the current pay and operations of the Office of Sullivan County Coroner account and shall be reviewed promptly if unknown catastrophic events occur in the future.
You've heard the explanation. Any questions for the sponsor on item number 8? Commissioner Glover, you recognize last word on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem. Over the years, this office has made advancements in leaps and bounds for our family members. We went from a van that had some holes in the floorboard and in the bed of hauling our loved ones on to top quality vehicles, and I think this is only appropriate for us to continue to move forward with that. Our loved ones are very important to us and all of our family members, and to witness this stuff firsthand. A few weeks ago, I know what some of these folks are going through, and I just appreciate what that office has done, and all the members of that office, and the things that has took place in the last few years of moving the county forward. Thanks. And I would require waiver of rules on this if we could, sir.
Sponsor moves waiver of rules on item number 9. Any questions, comments for the sponsor? Commissioner Lott.
Abstain for cause.
Commissioner Locke abstains for cause on item number 8. Any further discussion on item number 8? Without objection, ready to vote on item number 8. Has every member voted? Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk.
19 yes, 1 abstain, 4 absent.
Having received the necessary majority for passage, item number 8 is adopted. That takes us to the end of the calendar. According to my paperwork, that does anyway. Am I missing anything? We've already, we did that one earlier. Anyone have any closing remarks, questions, or comments, announcements, personal orders? Have a motion to adjourn. Any discussion on the adjournment motion? All those in favor of adjournment say aye. Aye. Adjourn.